Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm on my way to the airport to pick up a friend who's visiting from America, so I thought why not make a video and share with you some of the recent things that happened in my life. So as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I have been single for about 3 years now, and since I don't go out onto the gay scene, as it's called, like gay bars or clubs or gay places, it's very difficult for me to meet a potential partner. So my friend suggested that I should use some of these dating apps, and so I did. A couple of my friends actually were so sweet that they created my profiles for me. The one key thing about me is I'm a hopeless romantic. I still believe in true love, and the last few relationships that I had were very long term, and they were full of mad, passionate love. And I think there's so many mediocre things in life that we have to deal with every day, and love shouldn't be a compromise. And it should be, yes, you'll have to compromise on certain things with your partner because you can't be like perfectly ideally compatible. You'll have some differences, but as long as you love each other, that's important. So based on that premise of romance, I put myself out there and matched with several potential suitors. Unfortunately for me, because I put in my profile that I'm a romantic type, I got catfished a few times by people who know how to pull someone's heartstrings and play with people's emotions. So I'm a very kind and gentle person, and I matched with someone from Ukraine. I have no issues with people from any country. I don't put people in boxes and hate them or discriminate against a nation even though they might have a bad reputation. So I read a lot about Ukrainians having all these fake profiles and creating things online and having affairs with 3, 4, 5 people at the same time. Even my Ukrainian friends told me that this is a very common phenomenon, especially amongst women. But I thought, okay, so I matched with this guy and we spoke on the phone, on video. So it went on for about a month. We were talking off and on almost every day, and he seemed like a very nice person. We were getting along well, and we decided that I should go and visit him in Kiev. This is before the war. And gradually he started asking me for things like, oh, I can't get this here in Ukraine. Can you order it from the UK? You can either post it to me or bring it, and then I'll give you the money, blah, blah, blah. But they were like small things, and I didn't really take much note of it since, we went along this premise of us becoming a couple and things were progressing. Gradually, I realized that it was all about getting things from me. It was like the last nail in the coffin was when he asked me to buy him a laptop for $2,000 because his laptop was old and damaged. And when I said, look, I don't know you, we're not in a relationship yet, we haven't even met in real life, we just talk on video. And he was like, oh, I can't believe that you don't think this is a serious relationship and that you are compromising and you're more bothered about money than our relationship. And I thought, if our relationship is based on me buying you things, then thanks, no. So I ended that, and I think this happened maybe over a year ago. And then I was like, okay, enough is enough. Don't want to date, don't want to do anything. And then after a while, you forget what happens to you and you go back into the same thing again in life. So I downloaded Tinder and I don't know, Hinge or Bumble or whatever it is, and matched with another guy, this time a French guy in France. And it was just unbelievable how many lengths these people go to. I don't know whether he was French, because when I did some digging online on his background, it turned out that I think he was from Serbia, and but he spoke French and his English was very poor, so I thought maybe he is French, and I didn't really question it. And I don't judge people based on their accents or their skin color and things like that, or their backgrounds, because I give everyone the benefit of doubt until they prove themselves not worthy. Anyhow, so moving on, we again did the same thing, did a couple of video calls and spent some time chatting and things. And he was like, and this happened after I broke my foot. So he was like, oh, I really like you and I don't want to wait to see you, so why don't you come over to the south of France, because I'm on holiday for 2 weeks. He was like, why don't you come to the south of France? I'm on holiday for a couple of weeks, so I would like to meet you and spend time to get to know you. And again, he said he was a waiter in a restaurant. It was a bit of a, okay, you're in your late 30s and you're a waiter, but maybe, you know, you had a tough life, whatever. I'm not going to judge you based on your job. So if you're a nice person, that's all I care about. And I said, look, I broke my foot, so I can't really fly or drive at the moment such long distances. So once my foot is healed, then we can plan something. And he was like, well, in that case, I'll come to see you. And I was like, okay, yeah, that would work, because I just have to go and pick you up at the airport. So now we are doing this whole thing, and we plan and we talk about it. And then he says, here are my flight details. I am flying in tomorrow. And I'm like, okay. I was very anxious, nervous, uncomfortable, because it was like, there's something that didn't really, you know, when you have a gut feeling, when you know there is something wrong, but you don't know what. So I felt like, I'm not sure what to say or do, because it's a bit too soon, but if he's making the effort to come to the UK to see me, then you know what, it's fine. The next day he messages me and says, I'm on my way to the airport, and then he sends me a picture showing the immigration queue and says I'm in the queue. And then he says, like half an hour later, oh, I got to the gate and they have told me that my booking has some mistake, so I need to go fix it. So I'm gonna go back to the reception. And then he sends me a picture of the reception area saying they're closed, there's no one here. Obviously, flight was about to leave in 30 minutes. There would be no one at the Ryanair terminal, because they only have like 2 people in the whole company. So, and then he said, can you call Ryanair? And I will call Ryanair from my side, the French side, and whoever gets through first, here are my details, my passport number, my date of birth, can you make sure this is correct? So I called, I got through first, and I asked them, and they said there was 1 digit missing from the passport number. So I was like, okay, can you fix it, correct it? All of this is happening, and I was like totally oblivious to the fact that this was all a game. And then he says, well, I got to the departure gate and they said that the boarding is closed and the flight is now boarded, so they wouldn't let me on. But they said there is another flight in 2 hours, so I can get on that. And I was like, okay, and what does that mean? And he said, they just said that I have to buy another ticket. And I said, okay, and he said it's 110 euros. So I was like, so buy it. And he said, well, the problem is I don't have enough money so in my account at the moment, so can you lend me the money and I'll pay you back? And I thought 110 euros okay, if he's at the airport and stuck and he's gonna come, so, and I said, give me your bank details. And he was like, oh, the bank details will take too long, so I will give you a MasterCard cash card to top up, and if you top it up, then I can withdraw the cash from here. And then it was like, this is very weird. A French guy living in France, and his account doesn't work as quickly as a top-up MasterCard. Something was like, in my gut feeling, was like, there is something wrong. So I then checked from the airport where he was to see which airline was flying in 2 hours at 5 o'clock to London. Guess what? This was Monday, and there were no more flights to London from Nimes Airport in France until Friday. There was no other flight. He just made up all that bullshit. So then I said, which airline are you flying with? Because I can't seem to find any flights coming to London today. And he said, well, they told me there is a flight, so now they're asking me to buy the ticket, otherwise I won't be able to get on the next flight. So can you please send me the money as soon as possible? And I was like, no, dude, this is wrong. I don't believe it. There is no flight. You're making this up. Tell me which airline. And he couldn't answer the question. And then I called him and he wouldn't answer. And then eventually he called me on a video chat and pretended like he was at the airport, but it looked like he was sitting in a cafe. And yes, it could be a cafe at the airport, but the whole thing was he didn't have an explanation or an answer for any of those things. And he was just, so I was like, these people go to so much length. And I guess for me it was 110 euros, not a lot. That's a tank of fuel for a car. But the fact is, if he's doing it with 5-6 people and he's getting even 50 to 100 euros from each person a few times a week, then he's making a good living. Especially if he's living in Serbia, then the cost of living is so cheap, and the currency conversion from dollars or euros. So I was like, oh my god, I'm such a sucker and such an idiot. I actually didn't feel bad about the fact that I didn't meet this guy. I felt so shit for several hours, maybe half a day afterwards, thinking, how stupid am I to fall for this crap, and I should not trust people. And I guess the moral of the story is that it doesn't matter how open-minded you are, doesn't matter how you keep yourself away from discrimination, people keep doing these things, and eventually you stop helping those who actually need it because you stop trusting humanity and people, because they are so corrupt and there is so much that's constantly going wrong that you think there is no point. Now, if in future someone else asks me for help, I'm probably not going to help them because I won't trust them, and they might actually need it. All my life I've been one of those people who's helped complete strangers, and in every way that I could, and I've always been very kind and nice. But recently, in the last few years, I've had so many bad experiences. These are just two examples I'm giving you, and this is just from the dating apps, but otherwise I've had so many experiences that I've decided the world is not the same anymore. People are too selfish, and it's not my problem to fix the world and to help everyone. There are millions of people who are suffering. Even if I was a billionaire, I couldn't help everyone. So I need to just stop and live my life. So that's the moral of the story. Perhaps you didn't want to hear this. You wanted to hear that the world is an amazing place, and keep doing the good that you have to do, because doing good gets you to heaven and everything becomes amazing. None of that is true. So these are the realities of life that I share with you, and hope you enjoy this little story, and until the next video, ciao ciao.